Hey, what's going on, guys? Boy, Maximum RPM coming at you with another video today. Real quick, before we get into this video, I apologize. There might be some choppy editing in this, and I was in a really good mood today, and I talked quite a bit. Regardless, the mosquitoes were terrible, and it really derailed my train of thought a lot in this. But regardless, I'm still going to do my best to turn out a good video here. We're taking the Silver Gen 7 out for its debut trail run. So, sit back, relax, and enjoy. Have a lot of fun, and I still think the video is going to today, Junior. It's gonna. God, I'm stuck. And we'll go over what's been done to this truck. We put a banana to Dean's connector on it. We put a 25 tooth aluminum steering horn on it to give it better steering, and we put some aluminum steering knuckles on it to give it a better turning angle. And we put on these Injora swamp claws with green silicones. Other than that, this truck is bone stock. Stock shocks, pretty much the stock placement for them as well. Alright, and we are out on the trail. And, well, first step is the trail test. And this is on a 2S LiPo, and the reason that I gave it that moment of silence is so you guys can hear the gearing. Some trucks are pretty loud, and the Gen 7 is actually on the quieter end of the spectrum. You get a little bit of gear noise, a little bit of motor noise, but it's not loud. It's certainly not obnoxious. With this, you do get a little bit of a body rattle just because it has the SUV style body. It's taller, it's on tall body mounts, it gives a little bit of wiggle, and that creates a little bit of extra noise. But as far as trail etiquette goes, it's great. It's not too loud. The body is, it's firm, it does wiggle, but it's firm, and we're sitting at about half throttle now. This is actually a pretty peppy truck, and this is stock gearing on 2S LiPo. And this is actually the speed that I like my crawlers to have. Because when they're at this speed, depending on your gear ratio, they still have plenty of torque. And from my experience with Gen 7s is they always seem to have plenty of torque. And this, haven't really gotten into the nitty gritty of it yet, but this one has plenty of torque so far. And we'll evaluate that a little bit better once we get into the technical portion. But it's not loud. And I base my trucks off of a couple of things. How do they perform on the trail? Like this. You know, are they all over the place? Are they hard to drive? Is there a lot of bump steer? How's the throttle and how's the noise? Mosquitoes are really bad today. Noise? Not bad. I'd give that an 8 out of 10. It's not loud. You hear it, but it's not annoying. It's got plenty of power, and it's not too slow. Sometimes it's nice when you have a truck where you can just give it pedal to the metal and it's a nice walking speed, but it's nice when you have a little bit more for when you get into sticky situations. So I'm going to say, trail etiquette, this is a good 8 out of 10. In reality, I probably could give this a 10. This is one of the best starter trucks, and as far as like a trail truck goes, like this, where you're literally on a trail, it's fantastic. Quiet, good power, handles really good. It does suck that you kind of have to keep your finger in a state of limbo where you're always kind of working it, but at the end of the day, it's not bad. So I'm going to give this truck an 8 out of 10 for its trail etiquette. Now, the awesome thing is, Redcat actually sends this truck with bead locks from the factory. So whether you just want to do what I did and build your wheels up with better tires and silicones, I recommend weighting them because the Gen 7 is a little bit top heavy. That big SUV body doesn't help, but they're kind of a tippy truck as they come out of the box, and you can definitely work on that with different shocks or weighting your factory wheels or getting some nice aluminum bead locks and weighting those. But it's a little on the tippy side. That adjustable drag brake gives that a really, really nice feel, especially when you're going down these steep hills. And you did notice back there, a little bit of an axle hanger. These differentials are pretty big on these trucks, and they come in a couple different varieties. You can get plastic ones or you can get aluminum ones. But the trail's pretty mucky today. We've been getting a lot of rain, which is why the mosquitoes are out so bad. Hung up on a rock on the axle. Nice. There's a lot of trucks that can't do that. This hill's always sketchy. Those swamp claws give it a lot of grip. Factory tires can definitely still do this, but use that drag brake, help us down the hill nice and controlled. Very nice. Yep, the drag brake is programmable, so you can turn it all the way on, all the way off, or 50%. I'm running it at 50. That seems to be the happy medium, especially with a truck of this weight. 100%, it's a little too much for my taste, but truck has plenty of clearance and power. I say that as our big front diff gets stuck. That is the one major downside to these trucks, is the differentials are really, really big, and they get hung up kind of easy. Which is a shame. It's the only thing that really holds these trucks back. But we got a good axle twister here. Show off that flex and that drag brake. And with this drag brake, all you really need to do is keep light throttle just enough so it never actually stops on you. Just a little, see, that's completely off throttle, but if you give it just a little bit, it keeps it from coming to a complete stop on you. And there you go. Nice and controlled. But yeah, back there where it gets steep, A lot of trucks have a hard time with that because they don't have enough power. Getting hung up just a little bit there. And they do make a factory diff cover as an option for these. I don't recommend them because it just gets bigger and bulkier. Let's see how it does on the twisted wall. Nice and controllable. Turn into it like it's not even there. Let's see how it does coming down it. Going down, you want to take a little bit of a different angle. Let's see how it does on the warp wall. Nice and easy. Barely an inconvenience for the Gen 7. Now, I recommend going with this version, the lower trim, because honestly, the high trim just gives you a bunch of stuff you don't really need unless you're going for that scale look. Now, I do like the exo cage, or the internal cage that comes with the Pro. It helps your body last longer, but it adds a lot of extra weight. That is one major downside to these Gen 7s. Their stock bodies are pretty flimsy. They look fantastic, but just a couple of runs and they're all scratched up. Yeah, and see, got that axle hung up again. But I actually think that these big bulky axles are kind of a good thing. Now, I have broken a couple of the differentials in these, but you really got to kind of whoop on them to get there. And like I said, they make aluminum spools to fix that. I've never actually broken the gears in it. I've only ever broken the spool. And personally, I like a point of failure. And that spool keeps you from breaking something else. And it's still pretty durable. That sailed over those roots like it was nothing. Normally, trucks actually have a bit of a hard time on that. But yeah, I think with spools, with differentials that are this big, it kind of disciplines you to drive smarter. And it's not that there's an inherent problem with them, they're just big. But if you got this as your first crawler, it's gonna teach you a lesson fast, and that's how to pick your lines. And this truck will drive that into your head and keep it there. And here we are, all the way down at the point. That means we gotta baptize the old truck. Fully waterproofed from the factory. Ooh, let's be careful, I don't want to lose it. And just like that, we are halfway done. Now it comes time to the return trip, and the uphill is actually the trickiest part of this trail, especially for these big axles. But honestly, these tires are fantastic. The stock tires are great, but these things are just a step up. All right, a little bit more wheel speed, and just like that, we're up it. This really is one of the best bang for your buck trucks out there. The Everest 10 is even cheaper, but I found myself being really frustrated with the Everest 10. Ooh. Just because I knew what the truck could do, but it really didn't want to do it without serious modification. And the Gen 7, as long as you plan your lines, they're really good trucks. See, normally I skip this part, but the trail's a little rough today, so we're actually going to show it off. I gotta say, I'm really enjoying driving the Gen 7. This is my fourth one, and none of them have ever remained stock this long. I gotta say, there is something really fun about driving a stock truck. Because all my other trucks, it's point and shoot and it does what you want. But this one, you gotta finesse it. you gotta work with it a little. And it makes a simple trail like this really, really fun. Now, I recommend 5 mods pretty much right out of the box for these. And they're very cheap and simple. Number 1, if you aren't going to change out your wheels, at least change out the foams inside. Get a set of Injora silicones. I'll leave a link to the silicones in the description down below. I'll leave links to everything that I use in this video down below. I recommend doing silicones because the stock foams are going to deteriorate after a while. And I recommend weighting the wheels. And I'll leave you a link to some bismuth wheel weights that you can use to wrap your wheels with. Or get a different set of wheels and bolt everything back onto the new wheels with your silicones. Just because these wheels are pretty light, but for real cheap you can weight them and they get a lot better. Number 2, get a different servo. This is the factory servo and it's really weak. Get a 25 kg servo off of Amazon. Once again, I'll send a link to it. And put that bigger servo horn on it. You'll get better steering angle and you have more torque with your steering. And right there's why you need the weights, because this truck is a little top heavy out of the box. And number 3 is going to be a free mod. Number 3, cut the plastic knuckles. Don't bother getting the aluminum ones that I have. Keep the plastic ones in there and cut the bump stops on them. And honestly, just trim them. Trim them, because you don't want to break anything. If you trim them, you can't hyperextend the axle. It makes it harder to break things. And you get better steering angle. Honestly, I've got a truck that I took my aluminum knuckles off and put on plastic ones. So you weight the wheels, you add the silicones, you cut your knuckles, and you put a better servo on this thing. And honestly, those are good enough. Those 4 really are good enough. If I were going to say at number 5, it would be buy an Injora LCG transmission and just keep it set aside for when the factory one fails, because it will. I think our back axle's actually stuck that time, yep. Alright, so this is the trickiest part of Lamson. It's the hill climb. Let's try and do this without having to back up at all. Well, okay, that one's on me. That wasn't the truck's fault. However, these swamp claws are a little bit bigger than the factory super swampers, which really help it. Look at that, we got out of it. Oh, the mosquitoes found me again. Come on. I'm not backing up, I'm just... Okay, I gotta back up just a little. There we go. Just a little bump and we're up it. And look at that. Yeah, this is a great truck for beginners. It's super cheap, super easy to work on. I'm getting stuck everywhere. Parts are readily available. And this truck teaches you to drive. The TRX4, the SCX10, and so many trucks, all the big trucks that have portals on them, you lose some things with them. You get a really capable truck, but you kind of lose some of the fundamentals. With a truck that's a little bit less capable, you do a little more thinking, and it makes you a better driver. Now, my SCX10 is a better truck. There's no two ways about it. But it costs more, and I don't like working on it as much as I like working on this. This is a super easy truck to work on. The SCX10, a lot trickier. Well, guys, that about sums it up. And what do I think about the Redcat Gen 7? Do I recommend it? And the answer is absolutely. It's a 10 out of 10 truck for me. And it has nothing to do with how capable it is out of the box. It's a fairly capable truck. It's not as capable as a SCX-10 base camp or a TRX-4. It doesn't have the same axles. It doesn't have the same quality of shocks. It doesn't have the same transmissions. It's just not as capable out of the box. Does how capable something is truly define how good it is? Not all the time. So let's look at it this way. The Gen 7 might not be as capable as the 2 out of the box, but it is cheaper, which leaves you room to modify it. And in my opinion, it is one of the easiest trucks to modify. And let's see how. So we got 3 very different builds. First up, pretty much completely stock. We've got some tires and silicones and some steering components. Other than that, it's stock. Decent truck. Then we've got Project Black Cab, which I've been testing some body weathering techniques on. Let's break this one down. We've got this one converted to portal axles with mudslingers, silicones, heavy offset wheels, really high quality Endura shocks that are fully adjustable and essentially competition ready, which is what this truck is going to be, is a dirty competition rig. We have an LCG transmission with upgraded metal drive shafts, a 10-turn brushed motor, and soon this truck is going to be getting an overdrive and a brushless crawler system and lowered and a comp body. And this is a phenomenal truck. It's already been up one mountain, and the silver truck is going to go up one as well. And now we got Project Wrecker. We've got a half cab. We have a working tow truck wrecker. We have a stock Gen 7 transmission with the upgraded portal or slipper clutch kit, heavy duty metal drive shafts, stretched wheelbase, angled competition style arms front and rear, lowered portal axles, weighted wheels, tires, and silicones with really aggressive mud tires. You can do anything to these trucks. I've built them with 4-wheel steering, portal axles, straight axles, you name it. With a Gen 7, if you think it, you can do it, and you can do it easy. The parts are available, it's easy to work on, and it's a cheap truck. And in my opinion, it's one of the most fun trucks on the market. Do I recommend it? I wouldn't have owned 4 of them if I didn't recommend it. So that's going to be about it, guys. Like, comment, subscribe. Hope this video makes your day just a little bit better. Live life to the max. Stay awesome.